What's up, guys? Welcome back to yet another riveting episode here on the Avion Awesome channel. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Orlando campground from Thousand Trails. And in this review, I'm going to give you the what's good, the what's not, and everything in between. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. Alright, as you can see here, this is where it's located just off Highway 27. It's in a very densely populated area. There's literally anything you could imagine as far as stuff to do, stuff to eat, places to go, things to see. I mean, you really can't go wrong in this area. It's just down the road from Lake Louisa State Park, which is where I stayed one time before. It's probably a mile down the road from the Thousand Trails Orlando Park. The same thing applies here. You're really close to all the Disney activities that are in this area here. Plenty of shops, plenty of restaurants, grocery stores, anything you could imagine. It's located in this area. It's just on the outskirts of the metropolitan Orlando area. It is on the western side of Orlando, so you're not very far away from your Tampa area, your Port Richey, New Port Richey area here. You're maybe only a little bit, maybe hour and a half or so away from the Crystal River area, and you're also really close to St. Petersburg. Within an hour's drive, 2 hours drive of just about all the big amazing stuff that you're wanting to see, including Merritt Island, Cape Canaveral. So you're really close to just about everything. So this is the Thousand Trails Orlando entrance coming from the north side. This is the main drag, and it is a pretty long stretch of road here. Just so you know, Thousand Trails is a huge stickler, especially this location, for arriving no sooner than noon. So if you try to get there, I mean, even a few minutes early, they will turn you around and send you out of the park until it is time to actually come back in. So do not arrive at the Thousand Trails Orlando Park if you plan to get there, I mean, any amount of time early. They're going to turn you around and make you leave. And in all honesty, there's probably going to be a guy sitting there on a golf cart waiting for you and he's going to block your entrance. He's going to run up real quick and just be like, nope, you got to get on out of here. Go on, get your stuff and get on out of here. And I'm telling you right now, that dude loves his job. So just don't even try it. Save yourself the headache, save yourself the hassle, and just don't arrive any sooner than noon. All right, with all that being said, this is the entrance to the main office. So if you hang a left here, this is basically the staging parking lot. I have had two different experiences when it was the off season in November. This is where you would park your rig, you would walk up here to the office, you would do your check-in, they would give you your paperwork and all that kind of stuff. After peak season began in December, they quit doing that and they started having something called quick check-in, which just meant they checked your name and your ID at the guard shack that we're getting ready to come up to, and they would send you down to the main sort of like rec hall area, and then they would check you in there. After the fact, they might switch back to the regular check-in once peak season is over with. I'm not really sure. I'm not there anymore. But as we drive forward, this is your guard shack. 9 times out of 10, this guard shack will be manned by someone that will physically look at your check-in paperwork. They'll see that you have a specific name and date on the paperwork, and then they will just flag you on through. As we drive down, you're going to see lots of different campsites, especially here on the left-hand side. If you take this very first right, though, this is called Propane Lane. This is where you have a dump station, and you also have a propane fill. So if you need propane when you first get there, this would be where you want to do that. They also have an air machine down here, so that if you need to air up your tires before you finally set up and get settled in, you can do that here as well. If you notice there on the right, those are not campsites. That is RV storage. It looks like some of those things had been there for an extremely long time, but if you happen to want to store your rig, let's just say that you're a snowbird and you only come down for 6 months out of the year, this is where you would do it. All right, so moving on down the line here, eventually you're going to come to a section that's been kind of tied off and roped off, at least for the time being. It was not this way when I first started coming to the Thousand Trails Orlando, but they have decided to expand the park up to an extra 165 sites, which will bring the full total up to 1,000 campsites in this one campground. This place is absolutely massive. According to them, they should have these sites fully done and prepared for the next upcoming season in late 2019, early 2020. I won't be there. I'll be wintering somewhere else this upcoming winter, but they're planning to have a whole lot of brand new sites available for you guys in this area. They've been clearing out the land, cutting down the trees, getting ready for those new sites to be installed at any time. At this point, when you take this right, this is where all of the cabins are located. It's called the Getaway Club. I've never stayed in any of these cabins. I do know that there are a few Thousand Trails packages that do have cabin rentals included with those packages. I would assume that a lot of these are really good if you don't have an RV, obviously, and also, let's just say you happen to be staying somewhere in the park and then you have family members that want to come in and maybe stay with you for a week or so. These cabins would be perfect for that kind of thing as well. I've never stayed in any of these, so I can't attest to, how well amenitied they are, what they include, or what is inside. So I have heard good things about them, but that's about as far as it goes. At this point, let's pretend that you're not getting a cabin, and instead of turning right, we turn left into the campground. I'm going to give you a quick tour of what you can expect with most of the sites here at Thousand Trails Orlando. This is the type of space that you can expect between each campsite. Most of them are plenty big. Most of them give you lots of room in between yourself and your neighbor. And as far as space is concerned, these are probably some of the best campsites you're going to find almost anywhere. Overall, in the main section of the park, most of the campsites look pretty much the same. You'll have a few pull-throughs, you'll have some back-ends, you'll have some that are heavily wooded, you'll have some that are close to a cow pasture, you'll have other ones that are closer to bathrooms and laundry facilities, you'll have some that are closer to all the amenities around the rec center, your tennis courts and all that kind of stuff. But there is one exception in this park, and it is quite the exception. In my personal opinion, it's my favorite, but if you like to people watch, you're definitely not going to want to go to the section I'm about to show you. Also, if you like your cell phone signal, it's probably also not the best spot in the park to go as well. And that section is D section. So if you keep heading straight from the cabin area that's here on the right, and instead of taking a left into the campground like we just did, if you just keep going straight, you'll finally get down there to the D section. D section is also where you're going to find the lake. You're also going to find the pier. You can fish from this pier. They also have kayak rentals and canoe rentals if you're into that kind of thing. There's also a really nice little doggy park in this area as well. It's not the best. It's pretty sandy, but there is a nice open field right beside it. So if you want to walk in that direction, you can kind of go on a little bit of a nature trail area back there. That's also where the tent campers are located. So, welcome to D section. This is my favorite part of the park. Unfortunately, it's also the portion of the park that puts you the furthest away from all the, I guess you would say, more modern amenities like the swimming pool and the tennis courts, basketball courts, that kind of stuff. But if you're more of a nature lover like myself, you are absolutely going to love this section. You're away from all the traffic. There's very little traffic in this area because it is the furthest point. It's on a loop. It's just on the backside of the cabin area, as you can see. There are a lot of natural barriers between you and your neighbor. That's the reason I love this place, because if you can get the right campsite back here, it will almost feel like you're out there all by yourself. I love it. And some people do. I've even talked to some people that absolutely hate this area. They're like, no, I love to people watch. So now I want to be right out there in the middle. And then other ones, like myself, they're like, this is the only place that I would camp if I went to Thousand Trails Orlando. It really is as close to a state park as you can get, but that is one of the best things about the Orlando Thousand Trails. The first 2 or 3 times that I stayed here, I stayed in the back portion. The last time that I stayed there, I was out there kind of in the middle. I was out in the mix with everyone else. All my friends that I had met while I was in Florida, they were all out there kind of in the middle. So that's where I ended up staying the last time. But you are going to have access to bathrooms and laundry in this area, so you're not completely without all the amenities. Most of these sites are, in fact, full hookups. They do have a few campsites that are 50 amp. Some of those end up getting reserved for full annual site members or people that have reserved a site for the entire season, so just be aware of that as well. And speaking of bathrooms and laundry facilities, let's check out what you can expect in those. And here's one of the many bathroom / laundry houses here on premises. Let's take a look here in the laundry room first. So as you see, you've got some washing machines and several different dryers. Looks like equally double the dryers to the number of washing machines. Folding table. It's a long one too. Looks like a hanging shelf. We do have air conditioning in here, so if it does get a little bit hot, no big deal. Some chairs so that you can sit down if you're wanting to wait for your laundry. Unfortunately, you have to buy tokens, which means you have to insert real money, which also means that you can't use a debit or a credit card on any of these machines. So there's that. Overall, it is not very up to date. This place could probably use a little help, but not horrible. All right, so let's head back up to the front. This is the main rec hall. This is where you're going to find most of your planned activities. This is also where all of the amenities are, your swimming pools, your hot tubs, your tennis courts, and all that kind of thing. So if you come into this building, like I said, this is where planned activities usually happen, and on this particular day, it was bingo. So we had a nice little group of people all playing bingo for the day. I went on ahead and excused myself and kind of cut through while they were still playing. Also, this is the camp store. You can find miscellaneous items, crucial camping items, maybe like a plug to convert your 30 amp to 50 amp and so on. You can find a few groceries in here, just so long as you don't want to drive out of the park. Like I said, it is kind of a long drag getting in, but the kids can usually find what they're looking for as far as tennis rackets and balls and stuff like that. And this is also where you're going to find your mail. So if you have any mail delivered to the campground, that's where it's going to end up. If you continue on going through, you'll find a small little coffee shop, cafe style area. This is where a lot of people will sit, check their email, do some work or whatever. This is also where you can find some of the bathrooms. These are not your standard like shower style bathrooms, but I'll give you a look inside just to see what you think. Overall, it's pretty modern, pretty up to date, well tiled, clean, well stocked. Everything is functional, wheelchair accessible. And this kind of theme is pretty much throughout the entire park. And coming out of the cafe, here to your right, the first room is the library. They've got a few nice little cushy seats. They've got a few reading tables and a small selection of books if you are on the hunt for something to read while you're at the campground. Now, the next room here on your right is actually a game room, and I happened to walk in on a guy doing some gaming. What you can do is you can bring in your own gaming system and hook it up to one of 2 different TVs. So if all the TVs in your camper happen to be taken up by, I don't know, The Price is Right or whatever, the kids can bring their game systems into this room, hook their game system up to the TV, and still have a place to play that Xbox or PlayStation. Now, leaving that room and heading to the end of the hall, this is basically the TV/rec room specifically. They've got some pool tables in here. They've got puzzles and board games. They've also got another TV so that, if you happen to want to watch some news or whatever. This guy was watching some news when I showed up. But yeah, they've got lots of games, lots of puzzles. And in this back area, they've also got another pool table, and they've also got some arcade-style games. They've got a claw game, and there's even a little kitty Mickey Mouse game. Now, just on the outside of the rec hall, you're going to find 2 great big boards. One is a chess board, and the other one is a checkers board on the other side of the walkway here. I'd never seen this before. I thought it was pretty damn cool. This is also the only place you're going to find any garbage on the entire premises, so even if you were on the furthest end of the park, this is where you drop off your trash. There is no site pickup whatsoever. And going around to the back side of the rec hall, this is where you're going to find 2 full-size swimming pools. You're also going to find a hot tub and a small wading pool. If you're into volleyball, you'll find that court here. If you're into basketball, you'll find one there. They also have pickleball, shuffleboard courts, and a nice little camping fire ring for story time. I think it kind of goes without saying that this place pretty much has it all. Like I said, there's not many things that I could possibly think of that they don't have, including this swing set here for the kids. They've got lots and lots of just about everything. There's not a whole lot that you're not going to be able to do here. Like I said, wading pools, swimming pools, they have water volleyball. They had all of these amenities, and they're all located right here on the main core loop complex rec center. There's nothing that you can't find to do, whether it be for the adults or the kids. And of all the parks I've been to, I've never seen a community garden before. I thought that was pretty neat. And as far as the mini golf is concerned, it's not the most up-to-date, but it does look fairly challenging. I never played, but it's not going to be one of those super-duper extravagant style courses that you're going to find in the more touristy areas, but it's perfectly adequate for a night out playing a little golf with the family. Just next to that, you're going to find your tennis courts, and plenty of them, so if you're into tennis, don't worry, you're going to find a spot just fine. It also seems that most days, more people are into pickleball than anything else, and they've got dedicated courts just for you. The basketball court seems like it's a bit of a oversight in my opinion. It's only a half a court, but at least it's there. And last but not least, they also have a nice big fire pit with benches for campfires and story time. And I'm sure there's probably some other stuff that was on this campground site that I missed, and I apologize for that. There is just a lot to do at Thousand Trails Orlando. At any rate, I give Orlando Thousand Trails a full 9 out of 10 rivets. The only thing I dinged them for was that horrendous check-in policy, and man are they sticklers about that. So, at any rate, thanks so much for watching yet another riveting episode here on the Avion Awesome channel. I'm your host, Mark Puckett, and I'm going to see you guys again on the next one. Peace.